Okay, so imagine this. We're building the most powerful engine the world has ever seen. I mean, this thing could solve some of humanity's biggest problems. But what if we built it without a steering wheel, or brakes, or even a map? That same engine could drive us right off a cliff. Well, that's kind of the challenge we're facing with artificial superintelligence. So today, we're going to look at a map someone's drawn up to help us navigate what's ahead.
And this, right here, is the question. It's the big one that developers, companies, and governments are all wrestling with. It's not really a matter of if we can build it anymore. It's all about how we can do it without, messing everything up. The stakes are unbelievably high. Getting this right is, well, it's everything.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page here. When we talk about AI in this context, we're not talking about some movie plot. We're talking about a very specific goal, building an AI that helps humanity move forward, but with guardrails so strong that they prevent any catastrophic, world-altering risks.
Now, the good news is we're not just stumbling around in the dark. We're going to walk through a really detailed blueprint proposed by Homeira Oroujzadeh. It's a strategic roadmap, and it's designed to guide us step by step through the safe evolution of ASI.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. This isn't just a list of suggestions, it's a structured framework. The two key things to notice here are multi-stakeholder, which basically means everyone gets a seat at the table, from tech giants to governments to you and me, and safe and ethical evolution. Responsibility isn't an afterthought, it's baked in from day one.
So this whole roadmap is built on these 5 pillars. Safety by design just means you build safety in from the very beginning, you don't try to bolt it on later. Transparency means we need to be able to see how these things work. Human in the loop, well, that keeps us in control. And then you have ethical data and cross-border coordination to make sure the whole thing is fair and works on a global scale. These are the non-negotiables.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? The plan rolls out in a few different phases. The first 5 years are all about one thing: laying a solid, trustworthy foundation.
So the journey starts in 2025, and the first step is actually pretty simple. You can't manage a risk you don't fully understand, right? So the initial focus is just getting a crystal clear picture of the potential dangers and figuring out how we need to adapt.
And you can see how practical these first steps are. The roadmap says companies need to adopt explainable AI. Basically AI systems that can show their work, so they're not just a mysterious black box. It also says they need to set up their own internal ethics boards to ask the tough questions, and start testing out new rules in these regulatory sandboxes, which are just safe, controlled environments to experiment.
So why start here? Well, it's a two-way street. These actions are all about building trust with the public and with regulators. And for the companies themselves, it's just smart business. Getting ahead of these problems now is the absolute best way to protect their reputation in the long run.
All right, so once that awareness is in place, the roadmap says it's time to roll up our sleeves. Between 2028 and 2030, the focus shifts from just understanding the risks to actively building safety and human control right into the systems themselves.
And this is where it gets really serious. The plan calls for human-in-the-loop systems in super important fields like finance, healthcare, and law. That just means a human has to sign off on any critical decision. It also pushes for that safety by design principle we talked about, making sure safety is a core feature, not just an add-on.
And look, the whole point of this phase is prevention. This isn't about cleaning up messes after they happen. It's about designing systems that prevent those huge, catastrophic failures from ever happening in the first place, while also making sure companies are actually following the rules.
So once a solid foundation of safety is in place, the roadmap zooms out. As we head into the 2030s, the challenge gets even bigger. How do we scale this stuff up responsibly and, maybe even harder, get the whole world on the same page?
This next phase is where AI really starts to step out of the data center and into our physical world. We're talking about our cars, our homes, our cities. And that creates a massive challenge. How do you scale up all this amazing innovation without also scaling up the risk?
To pull that off, the roadmap points to 2 big things. First, edge safety standards, which just means building safety protocols directly into the devices themselves, like your car or a drone. And second, launching transparent audits of the entire AI supply chain so we know that every single piece of an AI system is secure from start to finish.
By baking safety right into the hardware and checking the entire supply chain, the goal is to make the whole ecosystem way more robust. This lets companies expand into new areas more safely and makes our critical infrastructure much more resilient to hidden flaws or even attacks. And that brings us to the final prep phase, kicking in around 2034. It tackles what might be the trickiest problem of all:
getting every country to agree on the rules and creating a playing field that's fair for everyone, everywhere.
At this point, the actions go global. The roadmap says companies have to join these cross-border councils to get aligned on safety standards. And they also have to implement transparency protocols that can actually be verified by a third party so they can prove their systems are safe.
And why is this so important? Well, it's all designed to stop something called AI arbitrage. That's a fancy way of saying we don't want to race to the bottom, where companies just go to whatever country has the weakest rules to cut corners. This keeps standards high everywhere and ensures fair market access for the companies that are actually doing the right thing.
So if you step back and look at the whole journey, you can see a clear shift. The early phases are all about prevention. They're about reducing risk, staying compliant, building trust. But that's not the end goal. The ultimate vision, the final destination of this roadmap, is something much bigger, a true partnership between humans and AI.
So after a decade of carefully building all these guardrails, where does the road finally take us? This is the destination, the big vision for our world beyond 2035, if we can manage to get all these steps right.
See, the end goal isn't a future run by AI, and it's not one that rejects it either. The roadmap points to this middle path, human-AI strategic coexistence. It's a future where this powerful technology is there to amplify our own unique skills, not to make us obsolete.
So how do we actually get there? The roadmap says it boils down to two final, critical commitments. First, businesses have to fully embrace AI as a tool that augments human decisions, not replaces them. And second, all of us have to commit to continuous reskilling, preparing the workforce to thrive with these tools. And if we can do that, the result isn't just safer AI, it's a more innovative and competitive society for everyone.
So when you look at the whole picture, you realize this isn't just a boring set of rules. It's a comprehensive decade-plus vision for how we can build a better future with AI. The path has been laid out for us. The only question left is whether we, as developers, as leaders, as citizens, are ready to walk it together.